Welcome to 54015, a place to talk about tech news in the federal government. On this week's broadcast, Mark Ostrander and Patrick Nolan.
Come to decide that the things that I tried were in my life just to get high.
All right, so welcome to another episode of 54015. I'm Mark Ostrander.
And I'm Patrick Nolan.
And we are 540.
We had the Twitter handles.
You can follow me at Mark_Ostrander.
And at Patrick Nolan.
And what we do is we talk about government, we talk about tech, we talk about tech in government, we talk about APIs, all the good stuff, anything we kind of want. This is our time to kind of get our knowledge out to you guys, kind of start a conversation. Today, I'm going to be talking about a data challenge for software developers from NIST, along with kind of a status of OPM's e-Qip. Do you have anything today you're going to talk about?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about recreation.gov. There's an ongoing RFP out there on the streets, just very interesting. Starting to get some focus around APIs and the conversations looking like it's going in the right direction. And then the second topic is going to be a winger. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet. It's going to be a true live stream.
So let's get started and talk about money. And when I mean money, I mean $45,000. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, has started a reference data challenge, which essentially they're trying to get some of their data sets out to the public and have a mobile app or any kind of app. It doesn't have to be mobile, but an app developed by software developers using one of their 6 data sets. They're kind of wanting to get in that space of open government, kind of releasing some of the data to the public and seeing what hackers and software developers can do with it, kind of the art of the possible. And the type of data, if you don't know what NIST produces, it's all the standards. You probably have used NIST or use NIST, even if you never thought you did. It ranges from physical to material science to chemical to biological. They produce all the standards. Anybody from physicists to chemical engineers to high school to grad students use NIST. So what they have is 6 eligible NIST data sets. It's both freely accessible online and on data.gov. And what they do, or what they want, is essentially that app to be developed within a time frame. I'll have to look up when it's actually the time frame is, but they're just kind of looking for free reign of developers to go at their data sets. Okay, so cool. I thought that was pretty interesting, and a nice little incentive of cash prizes always helps.
$45,000.
Well, totaling. So
that's pretty good.
It's broken up between first, second, and third. But either way, it's a good incentive to kind of see what's out there. Maybe take a look at the data set. We can provide a link in the comments. Kind of just play around and see what you can come up with. Any ideas? All they want is you to use one of them, so you can mash up the data. You can use the data source, directly. They give you full reign, so it's nice to know that it's not too restricted.
And the hackathon is to build an app, not an API.
Right. So it's any kind of app. It's pretty open-ended.
Very cool.
It's very nice. So I don't know if that ties into what you have to talk about today, or...
Yeah, it's actually kind of totally not related, but similar at the same time. I think we see it a lot in our government work, but the theme of APIs, putting APIs out there, making your data public, making it accessible, holding hackathons, and also just promoting people to build apps on your API is a consistent theme that everyone seems to be doing, and that's the right direction. So kind of the first talking point I wanted to chat about is it's the RFP. It's been out since for over a year now. Gone through a couple iterations. I think the official response is due sometime in September. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. And it's just, for some reason, this RFP speaks to me because the data is really cool.
Okay.
It's about recreation.gov, which is basically your Parks and Rec, and you go to that for any American adventure outdoors.
Right.
Want to book a campground, go on a trip, go see a national park, that's your place to go.
Yeah.
And what the RFP is, they're actually making a service-based platform, so to say, an API-centric focus, and it's to make all this data publicly accessible via an API.
Oh, nice.
And it's even going so far as to make it kind of like and this is kind of, different companies have different approaches, but this
Right.
is just kind of my personal take, but almost going towards like a Travelocity, Expedia, where you can, build an app on top of the API that allows you to book a campground and do cool things like that. And, if you think about it from like kind of a hackathon perspective, like in my mind, this is the coolest, best data set that is easy to relate to across the United States, across the US. As we were in school and stuff, we were kind of learning about APIs, learning about data, and if I had to choose one government data set that I understood in college, it would be campgrounds.
Right.
We do a lot of work in the acquisition and procurement space, which is really interesting, but it's very specific, and you gotta know what you're doing to understand the data.
Right.
This is cool because anyone can get campgrounds.
Yeah,
or,
I'd be interested. From us being on the East Coast, we know a little bit of the East Coast campgrounds, or at least some of the mountains. It'd be interesting. Say I want to travel to the West Coast or somewhere out in the middle, Central America. I want to know what are the best campsites available to go to.
Yeah.
That I can see very, very valuable data sets out of that.
Absolutely, and it kind of even relates back to our theme that we keep hearing. It's not about the app; it's about the API. So I don't know if that works against the NIST hackathon, but they have an API or a data set. But what this allows you to do is they're creating an API, and you could open it up to third-party vendors or application developers to build Travelocity, Expedia apps, and anyone can go out and build an app and add their unique flavor or import a data set, put their own twist on it, make it interesting.
Maybe see where the hot spots or the most popular campgrounds are. Filter it, get creative with it, but
absolutely. And I think this is a good theme for government APIs. Is a lot of people tend to think about like, okay, we need to build an app, but then what if we actually build the API and then allow everyone else to build 1, 2, 3, 20, 100 apps?
Yeah.
I think that's the way. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And then always mashing it up with other data sets. Maybe I'm trying to even think off the top of my head.
Bear tax or something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
No, that's definitely interesting. Or there's any when that's like finalized or when it's due, or it's just.
Yeah, so I think the official
timeline.
response is due like September, like we said.
Oh, okay.
So kind of late in the game. This has been out there for a while. It's just fairly recently 18F and U.S. Digital Services got involved. Kind of said, okay, this is going to be a Spotlight API.
Yeah.
We'll help you out in defining like what it should be and stuff.
Right. I'm sure a lot of people are going to go after that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One of the more interesting ones.
Yep. All right. Back over to you.
But so I have a quick little status update. The Office of Personnel Management are the people who brought you the system for applying for security clearances, e-Qip and background checks. So what they did, I think 4 weeks ago or so, roughly, they actually took that system down because they found a security vulnerability. And they did this when there was a pair of hacks that compromised the personal information. And it wasn't related to the 2 hacks, but they found the vulnerability by investigating the hacks, basically, on their system. So the 4 weeks have passed, and they've actually kind of just reinstated that system. So now the electronic system for applying for background checks and security clearance is back up. But one quick note that I kind of want to say about this is, although the system's back up, that was probably one of the more secure systems out there, and you just want to be cautious because there can be data breaches anywhere, and it shows that even the most protected systems have vulnerabilities.
Right.
So what they did is they worked with the Office of Management and Budget's e-Government and Information Office, and the Department of Homeland Security, and basically they kind of tweaked and enhanced some of their password encryptions. They secured data transmission and other things, but it's kind of, you're never safe, so you want to always kind of be cautious of what the next vulnerability is going to be. So that was just a quick status update that, be secure. e-Qip is back online, so we can now have background checks and all that good stuff electronically versus doing it the paper route, which is going away eventually. Everything's going electronic, everything's going a little bit faster, so we're glad to see that's back up online.
Yeah, I don't know what's more secure, electronic or paper.
There's always human error.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's interesting because I know you're watching it, but my new favorite show is Mr. Robot.
Yep.
And it's some silly show about a hacker who does all these different security vulnerabilities and stuff, and his number one exploit is people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a consistent theme is, as unsecure as a system might be, I think people are probably one of the bigger sources of where you could attack,
right,
where the vulnerability lies.
Yeah.
And that scares the crap out of me. Yeah.
So that's all I got. Do you have any more?
No. What time is it? We get 4 whole minutes.
More.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we'll just talk about this. We'll just do an open discussion.
Sure.
I was driving over and I was thinking about what's the second topic that we're going to talk about going to be. I couldn't think of something, and so I started thinking about we'll talk about Google Project Fi. And then, so I just want to say, it's awesome. I recommend everyone do it. It's only Android. Hopefully, iPhone gets incorporated soon. But as I started thinking about that, and I started thinking about my smartphone.
Well, what is it, first of all, for those who don't know?
So yeah, my bad. So Project Fi is a multi-carrier network that Google is now, it's Google's network, and it allows you to leverage T-Mobile, Sprint, and Wi-Fi for your smartphone. Okay. So you can jump networks, and it's got a cool little SIM card that allows you to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and I think Google is kind of leading the path for that. They're kind of
like they do with most stuff.
Yeah. Well, they're fighting the good fight, not letting Verizon and AT&T bully us into high rates and stuff. That's all good. But anyways, more importantly, that led me to think about okay, so I'm on my phone all the time, and I've got 100 different apps that I'm using a day. We work with APIs every day. Why don't we have an API, like a personal API or something like that? I know you kind of messed around with it before and built your own for runs and workout and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what if Google or somebody or a company had an API that is just specific to me, where if I was building an app, they would tap that API rather than 3 or 4 different APIs on social networks and my fitness tracker and stuff like that. Kind of like a high level API that kind of orchestrated everything up into one or allowed you to add your own data. I was just kind of chewing on that idea. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, that definitely is interesting, and trying to maybe go share. Everyone has their own personal API and share certain pieces to other people, and that kind of opens things up.
Yeah, it's almost like you could replace social media and different things that you do every day and all your notifications and emails and calendar invites and things that are going on and little sticky notes that you make in your phone. I just thought it was just an interesting concept, and maybe we should think about it more.
Look into it.
Yeah. Put that in the R&D pot.
Yeah. Seriously. But so I think that wraps it up. I know we have about 30 seconds, but again, to recap, we have Project Google Fi, we have Cash Money in the NIST Data Challenge, e-Qip's back, and the RFP for, what is it?
Recreation.gov.
Recreation.gov. So we'll put all the the links in the descriptions, and check out check out all this stuff. It's all good. Follow us at 540Co, Facebook, YouTube, all the channels. Again, we're 540, and we'll see you next week at 7 a.m. Wednesday morning.
I wanna